Hello, everybody. Welcome to the very first video of a bunch of incredible content we have all about X-Plane 12 and from the team at Laminar Research. So my name is Calum. I am one of the co-founders and the content director at FSElite, and today I am joined by Thomson from Laminar Research. Hello.
Hey, good morning, Calum. How are you?
I am doing really good. Very excited to have you ready to have a really in-depth conversation about X-Plane 12. So if just to let everybody at home know exactly what this series of videos is going to involve. So over the next couple of weeks, you're going to see plenty of content from ourselves going into the kind of the smaller details about X-Plane 12. So we've already seen plenty of coverage and content from Laminar over the past couple of months, especially at Flight Sim Expo last year. But this series of videos is really about finding out a little bit more about the development process, talking to the developers and the people behind X-Plane 12, and also learning some cool insider stuff all at the same time. And we're going to be talking about aircraft, we're going to be talking about ATC, the ground, weather, flight dynamics, and so much more over a series of videos which we've been working on for quite a little while, haven't we? At this point, Thomson.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see it all come together.
Me too. So this video is kind of the introduction to the series. So what you will see over the next few weeks for those watching at home will just be a series of videos. So do make sure that you do like and subscribe to the FSElite channel, and you will be notified whenever there is a brand new piece of coverage from our X-Plane deep dive series. So let's just begin with a bit more of a personal take on it before we talk about X-Plane 12. And so people may have seen your face in kind of press conferences at Expo and other videos and stuff. But what is your role, Thomson, at X-Plane, and what do you do to help the team?
Yeah, so I started out when I was quite a bit younger in the social media department and, just writing tweets and Facebook updates and that kind of thing. And over time, my position has kind of morphed a little bit. And now I oversee all of our customer service, some of the documentation side of Laminar, and then all of our marketing efforts as well.
So you really kind of have done quite a lot for Lamin over the last little while.
Yeah, I wear many hats, but I'm never bored, so I love it.
So was like marketing and social media something you did in a past life, or is it something you adapted to learning about within Explain?
Yeah, for sure. So I started out as just a X-Plane user like the rest of us. I think it was X-Plane 8 that I started on my mom's iMac, and that was great. But over the years, I just really came to love the X-Plane community and all of the cool ways that they take the work we do here at Laminar and just push it so much further. Whether that's gateway artists making new airports or third-party developers making study-level aircraft. I just love it. So working in marketing kind of gives me an opportunity to bridge that gap between the development team making X-Plane itself and then the community that's doing all of these amazing things and making sure that they get enough recognition and time.
Excellent. So you really do bring all those components together, and we get to see kind of the fruits of their labor, as it were.
Yeah, for sure.
Excellent. So just to we're entering a kind of a new era, a new generation of X-Plane, which hopefully will also help to inspire a new generation of simmers and people getting involved with this. Just if someone was looking to get involved in flight simulation in a kind of a more like to be paid or as potentially as a job in the future, what advice would you give to those people, and maybe use a bit of your own experience to how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. The cool thing about X-Plane is that there are so many different aspects of the sim that are open and adaptable and really just waiting for people to come and try to do them better. So for instance, so much of our team have started out in the third-party market, either making sounds for aircraft like Daniela or making aircrafts themselves, or all sorts of things. And over time, as we saw more and more quality and commitment from them, we were able to give them the opportunity to come and do it for us on a paid official basis. So I say try all the different X-plane flight simulation facets you can, or whether that's blogging or video production, whatever. And then just find something you love and really dig deep. It definitely shows.
Excellent. And it's really cool that you've been able to grow your team from, I guess, hobbyists or those who've been super passionate, and that has translated into the work that we're going to see hopefully with Explain 12.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So obviously this whole series is focused around Explain 12 and all of the cool new features that you've already talked about, and I'm sure there are going to be plenty more we're going to uncover over the next few weeks. So just as a bit of a tease, I guess, for what the future of this content holds, what is this thing that is you're most excited about for Explain 12, either kind of in its current state or when it does release to the general public?
Gotcha. Yeah. So one aspect of X-Plane 12 that we've talked about a little bit, we have a video too on, but that hasn't really been highlighted enough, is the new lighting engine for X-Plane. So in X-Plane 12, we are totally photometric for our lighting, which is a whole new rendering system for all of the sources of light in the world. And that sounds kind of secondary or boring when you first think about it. But when you dive a little bit deeper, you realize that translates into how we see every material in X-Plane, the sky, the cockpit, the world around you. And for me, that's what makes the biggest difference coming from X-Plane 11. Everything just looks a little bit better, a little bit crisper, and more realistic in the end. So I can't wait to see how users like that. And then on top of that, how third-party developers take that to the next level.
So we're going to be talking, I think we're talking to Ben in a lot
Yeah,
more depth about that in
yeah,
a couple of
absolutely.
episodes' time. And if you have seen kind of conversations we've had with Ben before, or even kind of when he's done presentations, you know just how enthusiastic and how knowledgeable he really is about all that kind of stuff. So very
Absolutely.
excited to be talking about that.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
so our deep dive coverage over the next few weeks. Um, so let's just kind of paint a picture then for everybody who's watching and what to expect. So the first episode that's immediately going to follow kind of this short episode will be our first one, all about the new world, and that one we're going to be talking to Austin about. So what do you think we can expect from that episode when we speak to Austin about the new world?
Yeah, so my hope for that episode is that you'll get to see a lot of Austin's passion behind this. X-Plane is not a fleeting hobby for him. It's not something that he originally planned as a business, even. It's something he loves. And we get to see that all the time internally when he's making new builds of X-Plane. And right now I'm getting one a day in my inbox from him, which is super fun. The speed at which he works and just moves the ball forward is really incredible. So my hope for that episode is that you get to see his passion and what has brought us to this point and what's next.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be talking to Austin. Um, it's it's so always educational when you speak to him because he'll just teach you something you never even realized you needed to learn about
Oh yeah.
the platform and aviation. So that's going to be a good one. And then we have episodes 2, which when we initially spoke about it, it was really difficult to digest how big of a subject this is. So we've had to split it into kind of 2 parts. So this is about the sky. So um, the way we saw this was we saw the world, but now we want to see where you're going to spend most of your time, and that is up in the air. So we're going to be talking to Austin about the clouds and weather, specifically how Austin and you guys inject all of that data into the simulator. And then the second part of that is how that data then translates into something physical that you can see and stuff through the sim. And we're going to be talking to Ben about that one, if that's correct.
Yeah, for sure. So in X-Plane 12, the lighting engine meets the clouds to give you a much more immersive flying experience. One thing that Austin has worked really hard to make sure that X-Plane nails really well is kind of the immersion of yourself in the sky, especially in clouds, and also that little bit of terror that you get when you're not exactly sure how you're going to get home or get to your destination safely, especially if you're flying around thunderstorms or when you're only equipped for VFR. So that's one thing that the old 2D clouds in X-Plane 11 could never really fully capture. So I'm excited for everyone to really feel enveloped in this new landscape. So I think that will be a good challenge for folks.
Excellent. And obviously, you can't have all this amazing looking world or this amazing looking sky without having aircraft simulated to fly through it, right? So that's
Oh,
going to be the
absolutely.
focus of episode number 3, aircraft.
Yeah, we have a really big our fleet is growing quite a bit for X-Plane 12. My personal favorite is the new Robinson R-22 with floats on it. That gives you a really nice way to explore the new 3D water we have, along with palm trees and stuff like that. But of course, for the folks who like flying bigger stuff, the Citation 10 is super fast and fun, and then, of course, the Airbus A330 that we just released a trailer for, that's going to be special as well.
I'm very excited to try all of those aircraft. And for those who do stick around and watch that episode, we're going to go into quite a lot of depth in terms of kind of the art behind it, some of the system functionality. So that's going to be a really interesting episode, I think, for people who want to learn a little bit more about the aircraft in X-Plane 12.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Yes, we are too. So, following that episode, we're going to talk about air traffic control. So, air traffic control has obviously seen a big revamp in X-Plane 12. Anything you can tease about what we can expect to uncover on that episode?
Yeah. So in X-Plane 11, ATC was really focused on IFR flying. So you have a flight plan, you have a destination, and the AI would kind of help guide you through those steps, but albeit with quite a few issues. So we hired, kind of recalling back to when I said, find something you're passionate about and do it super well. We found that person, but for the world of ATC. His name's Jim Keir, and he's just brilliant at that kind of thing. So he's revamped our entire ATC system to not only be ready for IFR flying, but also VFR flying. So if you want to do a traffic pattern, have flight following, do a low pass at an airport, all of that is now possible with X-Plane 12's ATC. And yeah, we can't wait to see what he does next with that system too.
Excellent. I know that's something that many people have been anticipating to see in X-Plane 12. So, really looking
Yeah.
forward to talking about that as well.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's a really cool thing to have for folks who are using X-Plane as a complement to real flight training. You know, when you're learning to fly in a 172 or a Piper, you're really not going to be doing IFR flight plans that often. So to be able to get a sense for that interaction with the controller inside X-Plane whenever you feel like it, we think that'll be really great.
Excellent. Can't wait. And obviously, you can't have air traffic control without having some audio to help with that type of system, which is why our next episode after that will be focusing all about the sounds of X-Plane itself. So, from one of the standout points I remember from the Flight Sim Expo trailer you guys put out, not trailer, but the 30-minute presentation you did, was the environment sounds, and that really made it feel very immersive being in that forest, and you could hear the trees and the birds and stuff. So, what can we expect to discover and learn in that particular episode?
Yeah, so for me, the environmental sounds in X-Plane are one of those subtle things that you might not notice the first time you get in the sim, but as you fly more and more, it just becomes part of the world that makes it feel so much more realistic And yeah, you don't even notice it. You don't even notice how much of a difference it makes. For instance, right now I'm working with a video team on a new trailer for our Cirrus SR22. And kind of the opening to that will be with the door open, and you can hear the crickets in the woods next to the ramp. And then you hear the door close with a very satisfying thump, just like the real thing. And then the crickets go away. It's those little things that really amp up the just immersion for us.
And obviously, we've spoken about the kind of the woodland areas, but obviously, there's also the airport sounds as well. So
Yeah.
that's going to add a new level of detail, which does lead quite nicely into episode 6, which is a little bit more about the things happening on the ground. So the autogen and airports and kind of the airport life, as it were.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that we've done for that is that all of the airport vehicles finally have drivers. But you do have to watch out. Not all of them are necessarily the slowest, most conservative drivers, you might say. So be careful for that. The biggest thing that I'm excited about, though, are the new jetways in X-Plane. They're fully customized to meet your airliner whenever you land. That's really fun. There's also brand new F-Mod sounds for the ground trucks for pushback. They just sound great.
Excellent. Very, very excited. And I'm hoping that what we've tried to do with all of these breakdowns of episodes is kind of focus on one area, but then ultimately it brings everything together in a nice, complete way. Which is why the final episode is kind of outside of the simulation aspect, but focusing more on kind of the user interface, the SDK for anyone who might be interested in developing for X-Plane 12, and then also talking a little bit about third-party support and kind of their role in terms of building X-Plane 12 to be an even greater platform following its release.
Yep, sounds great.
So, yeah, that hopefully to everyone who is watching at home, that gives you a nice breakdown of the what we aim to achieve with these deep dives over the next several weeks, as kind of we build up to the launch and the release of X-Plane 12. So, with all that in mind, I thought we could just talk a little bit about some of the other key points that people might be interested to learn as the development phase starts to head towards a release for X-Plane 12. So, following, we talked a little bit about Flight Sim Expo 2021, obviously your big presentation. You had lots of coverage and lots of people talking about this brand new platform. What was that initial response like, and what were people saying to you following that announcement back at Expo last September?
Yeah, for sure. So, first off, everyone was really excited to look behind the curtain at what we've been working on. For quite a while after we got X-Plane 1155 out, we were really just focusing on development and not really, we didn't have that much to share at that point. But since then, after the keynote, I can't express how much better X-Plane 12 has gotten. When we were shooting that keynote and presenting it, we were just on the precipice of all sorts of new aspects to the sim that really changed everything. For instance, the water in those videos was basically all the old water. Only one or two shots had the new volumetric clouds in them, just based on how integrated everything was at the moment. So since then, all of that has really come together to create a much more immersive world that's really a pleasure to fly in.
Excellent. So, if you were really interested in X-Plane 12 back in September and thought it looked good then, so what we're saying is it's looking even better in today's state.
Absolutely. Every week that I kind of peer into the development, I see a big improvement. So it's exciting to see it just being a continual progression.
Excellent. Awesome. So, you've talked a little bit about this continuous progression, and in the past, you've mentioned how there will be some form of beta phase where people can get X-Plane 12 on their systems, and kind of ahead of release. So then that way you can get feedback and you can make sure it's stable. And then ultimately, when you lift the curtain completely for everybody, hopefully it will be a nice stable platform. So I'm not sure when this broadcast will be going out, but as of right now, what is the sort of plan that you guys are thinking of in terms of the beta phase for people to start trying out X-Plane 12?
Yeah, so as of right now, February 7th, I think, we have about 200 active alpha testers running X-Plane 12 at the moment. That's mainly third-party developers preparing their aircraft and their systems for the new release, but it's also some specific testers who use X-Plane in very specific ways, and we want to make sure that it will work for them right out of the box. So that's where we stand right now. We're getting some really good feedback from that group, and we're thankful for their input for sure. Once that phase ends, our plan is to do a public early access where anyone who chooses to can buy X-Plane 12, and the key that they receive for that will be valid for both X-Plane 12 and X-Plane 11 in case they want to backdate to use any particular add-ons or that kind of thing. So that's kind of our next step. And then once that's done, we'll have X-Plane available for download on Steam, on DVDs, stuff like that.
Excellent. So, plenty of opportunity for people to give their feedback, an opportunity for you to make sure that issues are resolved. And obviously, it's still going to be updated following the initial release. You're not going to kind of just put it to bed, but
Oh,
the more
absolutely
stable the
not.
platform, the better.
I mean, you remember X-Plane 1130, X-Plane 1140 and 50. Huge new features were coming to the sim all throughout the X-Plane 11 run. So we definitely won't send a first X-Plane 12 build out and then move on to other things.
Perfect. So, a final couple of questions then before we kind of wrap this episode up, because I'm sure people are keen to learn a little bit more about the world and other aspects of X-Plane 12. So, some common questions then. What are you expecting to release a demo of X-Plane 12 so people can test it on their systems to make sure it works nice and smoothly?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like we've done with prior versions of X-Plane, there'll be a free download that's a demo version for X-Plane 12 so you can test your system, make sure that everything will work well before you actually purchase. The nice thing about X-Plane 12 is that we don't foresee a giant jump in system requirements. The largest marker for happiness for a flight simulator is really the graphics card, but we know that not everyone can go out and buy a 3080 this weekend, so we've been careful to make it compatible even with older GPUs and that kind of stuff. If you're interested in seeing comparing your system to our published requirements, the X-Plane 12 system requirements are up on our website now.
Perfect. And we'll leave a link in the video for anyone who's
Perfect.
interested in seeing those specs. So, firstly, Thompson, thank you so much for taking the time. Firstly, to help organize this with me, because it's been quite we have to get a lot of logistics and stuff sorted, get the footage sorted, get people in right places. So, very much appreciate your help there. I'm very, very excited to be talking to these developers and talking to the rest of your team, and not only learning about X-Plane, but also the people behind the platform as well. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to add, or anything else you might want to tease for what's to come in these future deep dives?
Yeah, well, first off, I really appreciate it, Calum. It's great working with you again. There's one fun thing that I'd like to tease a little bit. We've decided to get into merch just a little bit. So these are some nice insulated water bottles that we have that will be customized with X-Plane 12 on them. And then we'll also be offering a customization service. So if you want to have your name here engraved or something like that, this is one that I actually made for myself for the Lunar New Year, Year of the Tiger. So yeah, we're having a lot of fun with that. So you can expect to see those on our site around when X-Plane 12 is available too.
Perfect. I mean, I saw some orange and blue ones teased the other week, and I thought these colors looked a bit familiar.
Yeah, quite nice cues, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much again for the time. If you have watched this to the end, please do leave any questions and comments you may have down below, and we will do our best to get back to you and answer them as we can. So, the first episode, as we have said, will be all about the world, and that's going to feature myself and Austin talking all about the brand new world of X-Plane 12. So be sure to stick around and check that out. As I said, please do subscribe, like this video, share it. Make sure that you do stay up to date, because the next few weeks we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about, and we are very, very excited to share that with you guys as well. So, Thomson, thank you again, and I look forward to trying X-Plane 12 out for myself and seeing what the rest of the community thinks of our deep dive series.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Calum.
Take care. Bye.